was just wondering what your confidence level was about being ready for the start of the season and how that confidence level may have increased or decreased over the last few months.
I got no problem saying that I will 100% be ready for training camp in 2022.
Ryan Wood.
Dave, if you could just take us back. We haven't talked to you since the injury, obviously. What do you remember from that day, the emotions? How tough was that? And how did the injury happen?
It sucked. That's the one thing I remember. Just a fluke thing. Judging by the time of the week, time of the season, definitely wasn't something that, not only as a player, but just as the fans, I saw, everyone's, a lot of support and kind of outcry. It was much appreciated. But from my perspective, people have asked me, I'm like, for me, I had to live with it. It sucks when, someone important tears the ACL, but then, you get to go on your next day. I had to work and get myself back because that's my goal. That's, my job is to be the left tackle, and I fully intend on being the left tackle. So it's been up and down because this is definitely new for me to have a significant type of injury, but I've had a great support from the training room to ex-players that reached out. Jordy, a couple guys on the team like Jordy and Brian, they were huge guys I could lean on for advice about the process. And I would just definitely want to say that I really appreciated their advice that kind of helped me during that time because it was it did weigh on me. But I'm in a good spot now, and I just fully intend just on tacking every day, have the days stack into weeks to months, and then hopefully months to years.
Hey, Dave, I hope you and the family are doing well. This process, these last 5 months, what has that been like once you start, getting back into the training routine? And how did you attack that with wanting to obviously, get back to, the field as soon as possible?
The training started as soon as I got surgery. Dr. McKenzie will laugh at me, and I was kind of yelling at him, saying, I want to get, let's do the surgery right away. I don't want to delay this. I want to get going. And the moment that happened on January 7th, that's when this process all started. So nothing's changed from me coming out here to me being out my home where I train and do my rehabilitation. There's been great synergy between where I've been training in the off season and then also out here with the training staff. And I've been very fortunate, like I said, to be surrounded by a lot of people and a good support staff to help me along this process.
Dave, hope you're doing well. I don't know if rewarding is the right word, but what's one positive you've taken out of the past 5 months? Because you're obviously in a situation that you haven't been before, or is that not something you kind of look at given that it's an ACL tear?
No, I look at everything, try to always spin things into a positive. Very humbling. The biggest thing that jumps out for me is don't take things for granted. I really appreciate just walking. I appreciate being able to jog again. I appreciate being able to walk up and down stairs by myself. It was very humbling. It can get very dark, I know, for individuals that have experienced it. I am a very prideful individual, and for me, asking someone to help me to the bathroom, that weighed on me. But again, like I said, that through those humbling experiences, you find a way, for me, it helped me understand to not take things for granted and really appreciate even the littlest of things.
Did any part of you think, man, we could have gone to the Super Bowl if what happened didn't happen?
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. I don't know.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Hot. Starting to get steamy in here.
You look great. You are funny as ever. Thank you and good nights. All kidding aside, though, I look forward to you being ready for training camp in 2022. But what's the plan to get you ready for September 12th, 2021?
I'm not going to put any timetable for me. Like I said, I'm going to have my days, stack my days, have that turn into weeks to months to years. I have no idea. This is my first time going through this. So I'm just going to attack every day, try and hit every benchmark I can. And, once Doc can check me off, I can check myself off, and I can go out there and not only perform and protect myself, but perform at the level that the Packers need me to. I think that's where we'll see me return on that date.
Dave, what's the biggest mental hurdle that you've had to overcome with this injury?
What'd you say?
What's the biggest mental hurdle that you've had to overcome with this injury?
I would say for me it was just not getting down. I'd say the first 36 hours are probably the worst. And then I just, how I looked at it and how I described it to my close family and friends was I got this long road I got to go down, and I don't want to go down it, but I have to. So I got to go down no matter what. I might as well go down with a positive attitude and attack it like I've done with everything in my life, because I know that if I don't, then I'll have regret. So I, decided to end my pouting session after, 2 days and said, you know what, this is where we start. So started from, pretty much January 2nd is where I stopped feeling bad for myself and started just trying to attack the day. One little thing, I focused on everything so little is just even putting a little more weight into my leg, getting range of motion, being able to make one cycle on a bike. There's a lot of things you can, that I can remember that I really had to, it was humbling. But again, those are things I think I can look back on and, appreciate.
Hey, David, good to see you, and congrats on the rehab. Very, very impressive. Well done. I want to ask you about Aaron. You're close with him. And my question is, he's the only one not here. And for those that are, they are certainly going to have strong and entitled opinions on this situation. But how do you prevent it from becoming perhaps players taking sides in the locker room and being disruptive to what you want to get done?
Control what you can control. It's out of our power. It's a situation that is between another player, which you have no control of, and the organization, which you have no control of. So I learned that early on. I mean, I have a very close relationship with Aaron, but this is something that is not. I'm not gonna inject myself in the middle. This is between them and whatever they come to. I mean, hey, the show must go on.
Dave, you probably know Aaron better than anybody, maybe even better than Wilde knows him. Do you think he's ever playing here again?
I mean, that's all speculation. I'm not going to go into if scenarios. I have as just as much an idea as anyone else does, and I think as time goes on, it's going to sort itself out, and we all will find out. Aaron's going to speak when he wants to speak. The Packers and the people making those decisions are going to speak to us when they want to speak to us and tell us what's going on. Other than that, that's behind closed doors, and that's out of our control.
Hey, David, you've got a whole crop of new offensive linemen in your room this year. I'm curious, what kind of role have you tried to play for them, even though you're not physically lining up with them at OTAs or minicamp?
I mean, it's a different approach. Normally, I can kind of coach guys and also show them by example. And now it's really, stressing me to work on how I can express myself with my voice and with my language to describe a certain act or movement that they need to do instead of, showing them with my, from moving around myself. So that's been different. But again, my goal is to kind of speed them up as much as possible, do whatever I can to help the room and get the guys going because one thing I do know is I do intend on being back out in the field. And when I do, I want these guys, however many of the new faces that will be on the offensive line, to be cut up to speed and ready to go because the better they are, the better we are as an offensive line. You're only as good as your weakest link. So that's my intention every day while I'm around them.
Hey, David, you said you have a lot of guys that you're leaning on for support. And what's the biggest piece of advice that you've gotten from those who have gone through this rehab?
Something simple. You're going to be okay. Trust the people that are around you. Know that it's a long process. Focus on one thing. Get better. There's a couple little nuances you can say exactly in terms of how to get your knee better, certain techniques certain guys have used. I mean, I've really just thrown the book at my knee, and my goal is just whatever I can do to put my knee in the best situation to come back as healthy as possible, as soon as possible is what I'm working on and I'm working towards. But again, I can't rush what needs to happen in my knee from the graft from that standpoint. But what I can do is control muscularly strengthening. So when the graft is strong enough, my muscles, I don't have to be behind on getting myself in condition, not only from a left leg standpoint, but also from a conditioning and football perspective. So then I can really speed up that process to get back out there on the football field.
Hey, Dave, you mentioned Brian earlier. I'm wondering if there's anything you took away from observing him go through this process a couple of times, or just as he was going through this in his past, like, was there anything specific that he maybe said to you during those times that kind of stuck with you, or that was, jogged in your memory now that you're going through it?
Faith is the number one thing that comes in my mind. I mean, he's done it twice, and he's plays the same position that I play, granted opposite side, but plays at a very high level. So just knowing that he has been through something like this and he has come back and still performed at a very high level gives me faith in the process. Because like I said, it's very humbling. And I have a whole newfound respect now personally going through it. I still don't want to give him too much credit. But I mean, hats off to that guy. You don't really know what someone's going through till you personally experience it, and especially the parallels that we have, not only experiencing the injury, but also trying to perform at a high level and come back and play the same sport and basically same position. It's a testament to him as an individual, because it is not only physically demanding, but mentally draining, and it tests your mental wellness, your mental toughness, just as much physically. So again, kudos to Brian. Amazing dude, and he took any of my calls when I was really curious early on about any little thing, and he gave me a lot of good, sound advice, and at times, sometimes just wanted to console me and calm me down, which I really appreciated. So again, I really can't thank him enough. Jordy, a bunch of people. Jimmy reached out. James Jones. I could list off a bunch of guys that I've played with in the past that were very supportive about the injury process to go through. Because for me, this is something that I haven't really been through before, but I was very fortunate to have the supporting cast and support around me to help me through this.
Hey, Brian. A couple of young guys are from the Green Bay area. You've got Cole Van Lanen from Bayport. You've got Dietzen from Seymour. A, what's it like to have two guys who were born and raised watching you on TV and kind of idolizing you and now working with them? And B, what have you seen from those guys in practice in the meeting rooms?
That they're rookies. That jumps out. It's very apparent. So we want to speed up that learning curve as much as possible. Again, that's flattering. That's nice. Hopefully I've been a positive outlook on them, both on and off the field. But hey, when we come in and we're working together, I mean, we're coworkers now. So there's an expectation, there's a standard I put on myself and I put on individuals around me. And I, want to make sure each and every guy understands that fully and understands that we not only need to lean on each other and have an expectation for one another, but also this fan base, this organization has an expectation for us. And since I've been here, the older guys before me kind of instilled that, the level of play and the standard for the Green Bay Packers offensive line. And I intend to, give them and download that mindset, that mentality as long as I'm here, because it's something that we owe to one another.
David, at the moment that injury happened on that New Year's Eve, you must have been in just disbelief. This is happening at that practice as opposed to, guys flying around in a game. And your next step is it's got to be confidence and trust on when you're ready and probably have to get back to playing with a brace on, right?
I'm not going to go into details about how and what I'm going to be doing when I come back. But I can speak upon the injury. I laugh about it now. I always try to make light in all the situations. I remember just trying to stand on my leg after, and I was like, oh, kind of did something that I have never done before. And I was very positive. I was just like, dang. I remember talking to my fiance and just saying, yeah, I'm probably not going to play this week. But, we'll take care of business. We'll have a bye week, and then I'll be good to go. And then I remember crutching after my MRI, screaming at Doc, saying, as I'm like almost speed crutching over to his office, that I better not hear anything that starts with an A. That's just kind of my mentality, and something that I can look back on and laugh now. But yeah, it definitely it was a whirlwind of emotion. It definitely I freaked out when I heard, and he had to deliver the news. But then, again, I can only feel sorry for myself for so long. That's not going to make my knee better. So, I mean, I was like, all right, so what are the next steps after I was done? Transparently, I mean, I was crying. I was just in disbelief and crying because that I take a lot of pride in this. This is my job. It's something I'm very passionate about. So to have that completely taken away, not only in that moment, but also the situation that we were in, that was heavy.
Dave, continuing along those lines, I want to ask you, I know you said coulda, woulda, shoulda about the NFC Championship game, and who knows if you guys would have won or not if you played. But I remember talking to the locker room at Levi's Stadium after the 2019 championship game, and the pain in your eyes after another loss. What was it like for you just to be such a part of the season that was in 2020 and to have to watch the NFC Championship game? How did you watch it, and what was that like for you to watch?
I'll answer that by a little conversation I had with an ex-player. He asked me, what if the team wins the Super Bowl and, you've worked so hard and you weren't even out there to play on it? And I just responded, hey, look, man, a ring's a ring. I don't care at this point anymore. I just want a ring. That is it. Doesn't matter how it's done, because when you look back on it and we do talk about that season, you can't take that ring away from me. So that is my mindset and how I dealt with that situation. And any way that I could help or do, given my certain time, since I wasn't physically able to be out there, that's what I was trying to do for the tackles, for the team, things I could see, any bit of information. But like I said, everything else is just if, ands, and buts, and potential situations that we have no idea. What happened.
Hey, David, you mentioned it yourself that you would eventually, get back out there on the field. I'm curious, how important do you believe your leadership, but veteran leadership, is right now during this time with what's going on with Aaron, but also COVID protocols are still in place? There's just a lot going on. How important is that veteran leadership, especially for the younger guys right now?
You're telling me I have to boast about myself. Yeah, I think it's important, given the circumstances and situation. We're still dealing with men out there, and these guys, we understand that this is our profession. This is a business, and come rain or shine, come any situation, no matter who's out there, even if I'm not there, the show must go on. We must do our job that we are paid and what we are told to do. So leadership is great. It helps guide you, especially because of the experience that other guys have, that they can help out to navigate through adversity. But, you look at this situation now. Aaron's not here right now. There's going to come a time where I'm not going to be here. The younger guys have to step up. Everyone needs to step up in their position because the expectation is the expectation. I think Matt's talked about that a bunch. And, we have a standard to uphold, not only as a team, but also as an organization and a franchise.
I don't want to sound like Morgan Freeman and Shawshank.
But sound like Morgan Freeman and say what you're going to say.
I guess I just miss my friend, if I'm you, right? Look, you are really good friends with the quarterback, and you're going to support him no matter what. At the same time, you probably feel like you can't win a Super Bowl without him. So what is the line for you as a friend to be both supportive and, whether it's saying things maybe he doesn't want to hear or asking him and making it clear how much you guys need him? What is that like for you as his friend? How do you see your role?
I think you kind of answered it, but I try to be always as open as possible. For me, I care about Aaron Rodgers from a friend perspective. Whatever he wants to do, whatever the situation that comes out, I will never hold any grudge against him. That is my friend. That is someone that I've appreciated, and he has done a lot for this organization and a lot for me as an individual. Now, as a teammate, I would be idiotic to say that I don't want the MVP back. He's the MVP of the league last year. He's done amazing things as from the quarterback perspective, our quarterback position, but not only for the franchise. So absolutely, spending time with him, I do give him jabs. But it's in all good and fun. I've definitely voiced to him, I'm like, you know what, whatever happens, look, it's out of my control. The situation is between you and the organization, and that's where it's going to stay. I don't want to at all at any time get in the middle of that. I've respect you as a friend, and however that turns out, I'm not going to take anything personally. So I think it's really the mindset. You got to look at everything and appreciate what you have. Appreciate the things that are in life and look at things in a positive perspective instead of a negative perspective.